Howdy, and welcome to the Forrest Jr. B-Bender product review video. Now, I sent this Telecaster up to Forrest for the installation about a year and a half ago, and I've been living with it ever since. And I wanted to give it a good long while before I try to do any kind of product review, because I wanted to definitely avoid what a lot of us guitar players refer to as the honeymoon period. So, year and a half, happy to report the honeymoon's over. We are happily married. And I must say it's an open marriage. I am seeing other guitars, but she's cool with that, and that's the way it rolls. So anyway, just a real quick overview of how I got to Forrest. This video is not going to show you what a B-Bender is. If you've selected this video, you already kind of know that. It's not going to really get into the different styles of B-Bender. From my research, I ultimately decided that I wanted a traditional shoulder pull Parsons kind of B-Bender system, which is kind of what this is. So, do your own research, whatever works for you there. This is going to be a useful video if you are looking for more of the traditional shoulder pull type B-Bender system. So a lot of research led me to that. I actually even rented a guitar, the current Fender Telecaster production model, and that kind of led me to the fact that I do like the shoulder pull. That does work with what I like to do, how I like to play. That guitar was insanely heavy. It felt like the heaviest Les Paul I'd ever had, so I was a little bit concerned about weight, and we'll get into that in this review as well. I wasn't really sure, wow, was that guitar just super heavy that I rented, or do these benders add a lot of weight? So we'll definitely cover that. So once I narrowed it down to the system I wanted, pretty much like anything else you're going to research, you're finding the players in the game that do it. You're looking at turnaround times, their communication style, how much it cost. And so, led pretty quickly, very good search rankings for the individual in the company that does Brad Paisley's benders. Now, Brad's a G-Bender kind of guy. That system's a slight variation, not exactly like this, a little bit different, but kind of the same concept. And so I reached out to them, very polite. Well, I remember this was all a year and a half ago, but I remember a very polite communication, but quickly realized that it was looking probably, I think it was about a 6-month turnaround time if you wanted to go that direction. And the cost of doing it was on the top end of the market from what I was seeing. So I'm, like most Americans, I'm a fairly impatient person, and no, I'm not doing 6 months, so I moved on. And I eventually, through the guitar forums and a lot of what you viewers probably already know, I did come across Forrest Lee Jr.'s name. And so that led me to Forrest Lee Jr. videos on YouTube, of course. There's definitely videos where he demonstrates some of the benders that he's installed for folks, as well as his own personal playing. He's a heck of a player. If you haven't seen him, I recommend that. That style of tele playing that I enjoy, he's a great player. And that actually gave me confidence because I do like communicating with a fellow player, not just an installer. They also can think like a player and they might understand your questions a little bit better as, player to player. Another thing that gave me confidence once I discovered Forrest and his website was that he's actually a custom guitar manufacturer. I mean, he makes them from the ground up. So it's great that he knows how to put B-benders in, but he also knows how to build a guitar from scratch. So that gives you a lot of confidence knowing that it's, if anything gets tricky on the install, it's probably not anything he hasn't seen before since he builds guitars. Another concern I had is the guitar I wanted to use, which is this one. This is a American Standard Fender Telecaster 2012. And the way it is the way it came out of the factory in 2012. Ash body, broadcaster pickup, twisted telly, rosewood neck. Fairly light guitar. I would say probably close to just maybe a tad over 7 pounds on the lighter side. Not the lightest, but certainly not overly heavy. 7's about where I like them. That's just personal preference. And so one of the things that concerned me that I had to address with Forrest, and if you have the similar situation, this will answer your question, is when Fender was making the American Standard back in 2012, they were giving it what us guitar players referred to as the belly cut. It's carved in almost like a Strat. I'm not going to get into belly cuts, the pros, the cons. I've got tellies with, I've got tellies without. Either one works for me. As long as I like playing the guitar and it sounds good, I'm happy. But this one definitely had it. And so I was concerned because the B-bender is going to, real estate in the back of your guitar, you can see real quick there, is dangerously close to where the belly cut is. And so I was concerned that there might not be enough wood back there for a install to work properly. And Forrest addressed that quickly right out of the gates in an email, and basically it was not going to be a problem. I can work around that. I've done it before. Now, I can tell from the email and from the communication he wasn't thrilled about it. It wasn't his first choice. It involves some retooling. It's going to take some extra time, but it was absolutely not going to be a problem. So once we got past that, sent the guitar up to him. Was happy to report that 2 weeks later he contacted me and said it was ready and he's ready to send it back. So it didn't even get close to that month estimate. And of course that can vary, and you need to check with them if you go that route. But I was thrilled because again, turnaround time was very important to me, and I also found his pricing to be incredibly reasonable. So the turnaround time was great, the communication was great, the pricing was great. So can't say enough about that. Let's go into some of the detail on the bender now. And first thing we'll do is take a look, see if we can't get a good shot of the bridge. You'll see there, of course, is the bender mechanism. When you activate the shoulder pull, it is turning that, and that's, of course, tightening and loosening the tension on the B string to give you that full step up of pitch when you fully activate it. And then you're going to see, I'll try and get here, that string is going through a hole drilled in the back of the bridge plate, and then it's resting on a saddle that Forrest puts in there. He replaces the American Standard fender saddle and puts one of his own, and that's what you get a good shot of there. Okay, we're over here now. There's the shoulder pull mechanism area. Trying to get you a good shot of that. Well done. You can see how it's installed there. I would say from my experience and my research, this would be considered a medium throw, which means, you know, how long does it take to get from 0 to fully activated on the bender once you activate it? I'd say medium to maybe more towards short. It's certainly not a long pull by any stretch, but that from the benders I'd played before the install, medium was what I was looking for, so very satisfied with that. And so let's get to the money shot. If we can't get too much glare there. You can see he did a real nice job working around the contour of the belly cut and contouring that plexiglass covering. And you can see the full spring and bender mechanism installed there coming into the shoulder strap area. And then one last thing we want to look at, I haven't really seen a lot on, was what I'll call the tuning port. On this guitar, he installed it right there. Now the tuning port, for those not familiar, is you take an Allen wrench, it installs right in there, and as you turn it, I believe what you're probably doing is increasing and decreasing the tension on the spring. So basically what you're doing is when you activate the B-bender fully, you're taking the pitch up a full step. So when you have your guitar plugged into your tuner, you go ahead, get your B string tuned up, and then activate it fully, and the tuner's showing that it's not fully reaching that full pitch, whether it's sharp or flat. You can use the Allen wrench on this tuning port to dial it in and get it exactly where you need to be. So a word on that, I've had this guitar, like I say, a long time, and I'd say maybe I access and have to use the tuning port every 4 to 6 weeks. So it's not like a big deal, but it's there if you need it, and eventually you will have to do some fine tuning. I will say also that this guitar lives a very sheltered life. It's in a humidity controlled environment. I'm not playing out with it right now, so you might do it more if you're, in different environments, but in what we call the bender bunker, nah, it's fine. Another thing, interesting thing I'll share is after a few weeks, I'm playing it every day. I just got the guitar back. I'm thrilled. And within a few weeks, I started hearing this pretty prominent squeaking sound. It was hard to miss. And it was only occurring when I activated the bender. And so I was a little bit worried. I was hoping it wouldn't be in this spring mechanism in the back because that looked pretty nasty. And I'm not mechanically inclined and I don't want to go in there. Turns out after really looking for it, I found it. It's basically was occurring where the B string is sitting on the actual saddle in the bridge. And then just friction, moving back and forth with the B bender. And basically what you do, you just kind of take the string off, put a little bit of dab of oil on there of your choice, string back on, squeak goes away, no problem. So if you get a squeak, I definitely would look on the bridge saddle first because it's pretty much an easy fix. So that's pretty much a spot-on review of the install. Again, the install went smoothly, the communication was great, the pricing was great, everything. I can't say enough about my experience with Forrest Lee Jr. I mean, it's a great bender. And again, I've had this in the guitar for a year and a half, so if something was going to go wrong by now, I probably would have. So, and then if it does, I'm sure he'd stand by his work, I have no doubt. So, other things I can think of is basically, it's works well for whether you want to do more of a longer kind of, It also does great for make real staccato kind of. So I've been able to get anything I can think of and my hands can do with the bee bender. I've never been limited by the type of bender that was installed. It's worked really well. So that's my Forrest Lee Jr. bee bender product review. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments. I'll try and answer them as best I can. I'll also try and put a link to Forrest Lee Jr.'s website in the show more section of the YouTube, where I think you can put some links. And I'm not affiliated with Forrest. There's no money exchanging hands. I just wanted to give a shout out because I was very happy with the bender and the service I received from them. So I hope that helps you in some way, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you.